Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, yo.
U.S. Championships is not happening in 2020, guys. It's not happening. So this is way too early to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it, all right? Next year, 2021, all right? Sam Mikulak, our best gymnast in America right now, okay, will be going for his 7th national championship, all-around title. Who do you think, looking at the guys right now in the mix, who do you think are some of the top gymnasts that could prevent him from bringing home that all-around title? And do you think that with this layoff, does this hurt Sam's chances of bringing home a 7th, or does it just stay the same for odds? Taqiy?
I want Kerry to start. Who do you asked like 5 parts to that question, but who do I think? Part 1 is who can take Sam down possibly next year.
Best chances.
All right, best chances. I would say there's probably only about 3 or 4 people that have a chance. I'm going to start with Yule because I think he might be the only person in this code to beat him in the United States. So you always give him a chance. He's working more upgrades and things like that. He doesn't have NCAA season to worry about anymore. And then it looks like he's been able to have a pretty decent at-home workout ability by having pommel horse, ring stuff for strength, and then the air track on floor. So that's going to be good for when it comes to getting him back into the gym. So I go with Yule, and then I would go with someone like Shane Wiskus, who also, because wait, this is Shane's senior year he's going into right now?
Oh yeah, coming to a senior year. Yep.
Going to his senior year, so he could very well be peaking, like doing one of those, Sam, his senior year peaking, and I think that might have been when he got his first national championship, 2013, was when he was a senior, or was he? I don't know. Anyway, he's going to be peaking senior year, all that stuff. So I like Shane. He's been getting better on every event, strong on rings. If he can get his pommel horse up to speed, I think he can definitely put some pressure on him. And then another one that just seems like he just has so much potential is Brody Malone. He has great difficulty, great lines. So I would say those 3, in my estimation, have the best chance just because of their ability to have high difficulty and then also execute. So, but yeah, those are my 3 guys that have the best chance.
Kerry?
Yeah, definitely have Yule in there and also Shane Wiskus. My 3rd was going to be Akash. I was thinking Akash. He has high difficulty. He was up there at championships last year. He was in 2nd place the entire competition. And then, he really on the last event, Yule was able to squeak in and get that 2nd place. So, I think he's looking for some redemption, and I think that he can probably be that 3rd guy. Everything else with, obviously Shane Wiskus, he's been kind of hot right now, and Yule as well. So, I think Akash is looking, he's got something to prove to try to get back up in that top 3, maybe top spot. So that's what I picked.
I agree with most of those picks. I felt like y'all left out somebody that I feel was getting better, is getting better, has powerhouse events. You can't forget Colin Van Wickelen. Okay, I think Colin Van Wickelen is someone you cannot forget about. I feel Colin's done a lot to improve his gymnastics. I think for me, the biggest upgrade that I've seen him do that kind of make it a game changer. We knew he was a game changer on vault and high bar. You know, those are events that Americans need. But rings, he's been getting a lot stronger with that Azarian Maltese and then some of the upgrades that he's been working on P-bars. So I feel Colin, if he hits 12 for 12 at U.S. championships, because some of his events he can score very high, I think he has a shot as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, Colin has a strong chance. You know, he could do another Chris Brooks, just go out and just the year of the Olympics go and just catch fire and then surprise a lot of people. I'm not saying it'd be that much of a surprise to see Colin, like, you know, on that Olympic team, but even surprising someone, like you said, possibly becoming national champion. He has been improving on those events, like you said. Rings is getting much stronger. Pommel horse is getting better, especially during this pandemic, seeing stuff of his online. So, yeah, you know, it's one of those things where, of course, you know, you don't want to just keep going down the list. I'm not trying to just include everyone, but I would say all the names we put down, those 6, are probably, when it comes to start value and having like 2 events that they're probably really strong standouts, gives them an opportunity. You know what I mean? So
the next question I have is, who is more underrated? Okay, these next 2 gymnasts I'm going to bring up have been on senior national team, but have been off the senior national team. One is recovering from an injury, shoulder. The other has also been, you know, just recovering. And they're very talented guys. So I want to know, and Kerry, I want to hear your thoughts first. Who is more underrated, Alec Yoder or Marvin Kimball?
I'd say Marvin Kimball's more underrated. I feel Alec, he didn't get a chance last championships because, you know, he had an injury and he was nursing the injury, and you know, and he's had time to kind of get back healthy. So and he was in I'd say he was a top 5 guy as well. So, you know, I think Marvin's more underrated because he's kind of been out of the loop. He's been in, you know, Milwaukee, training on his own, you know, trying to kind of maintain what he's got to try to get back on national team. And he's had some really great bright spots at this last Winter Cup in Las Vegas. And so I think he can build on that, and now he's got more time to get ready. So hopefully, you know, this will, like this layoff maybe will help even the playing field for him, and he can use his ability to you know, turn the corner and make the national team, and hopefully, you know, win some events and persuade people to be able to say, hey, I can be top on many events to be able to contribute to the Olympic team.
How about you, Taqiy? Who's more underrated, Alec Yoder or Marvin Kimball?
Oh, I definitely say Marvin. You know, Marvin has the ability to possibly win 3 events, you know, at a national championship. You know, he has the ability, if he lands vault both days, you know, there's that. You know, he has the possibility, pommel horse, if he bangs those out, he can win that. You know, high bar, if he bangs those out, he can win that. So, you know, obviously Sam is probably the best we have on high bar. If he hits, Marvin, I don't think can beat him if Sam hits both days. But, you know, he puts himself in position to catch, you know, win if he doesn't. So, you know, I'd say Marvin's the most underrated. But the thing is, like, you know, he hasn't been super consistent. He had a much better Winter Cup showing, so he is tracking in the right direction. But when it comes to just, you know, where he's at currently right now, I don't think anyone ever, you know, doesn't think he's super duper talented, because everyone knows he's like super talented, one of the best guys. But I think right now he's probably in an underrated position right now for the Olympic team. And I'd say people are still thinking about Alec Yoder because of pommel horse, and then him being well rounded on about 3 or 4 events. So, but Marvin, he's like that person that if he can become super consistent over this next year in competitions, Winter Cup, qualifier, championships, trials, you know, he makes it very difficult to not put him on team if he shows consistency in the next year. And like you said, this benefits him. The mere fact that he showed better consistency at Winter Cup, and then they get a chance to do Winter Cup again and championships, so that gives him another major competition that he wouldn't necessarily have had if there was the Olympics this year.
That's a very, very interesting take. And let's talk about this pandemic layoff a little bit more in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about the level of competition, not just here in the States, but around the world when it comes to gymnastics. There's a lot of events going on. Do you think because of this long layoff and this pandemic, do you think, and I'm going to go to you first, Taqiy, do you think that because of this, we may see more upsets that we haven't seen because of this layoff? Are we going to see more surprises next year when it comes to,
No.
At U.S. championships? Are we going to see someone come out of the woodworks? Are we going to see someone maybe not perform at their greatest? Will the college athletes be better prepared? Because now these elite athletes like Sam and Yule, and yes, he's not doing college, but he's not going to really have that many meets between now and Winter Cup. At least some of the college guys, if they are competing, they have a few meets before Winter Cup. I mean, what are your thoughts with the level of competition?
I don't. To be honest, I don't think so. The only thing that I would say, if there was like a really, really good junior, the top junior maybe, but I don't think we have a junior that's going to make that jump from junior to senior next year. So I don't think the pandemic's going to change much, to be honest. The top guys are all super motivated. And, like you said, some people, this can be a benefit to the older athlete a little bit in terms of being able to not be pounding on their body so much. But it can also be at a disadvantage because, they're not in routine. It's going to take a little bit longer to get back. But to be honest, I don't really think it's going to make that big of a difference. I would say only for the people that weren't great on pommel horse are able to move up if they had one. Like that's still, obviously since I'm still currently a coach, I can see where strides have been made during this time. So if you have like a ring system, then yeah, that's huge. Or pommel horse, like those two things are things that for those gymnasts that were weak on those events, they have an ability. So maybe if you go and look at gymnast to gymnast, who can improve the most, and that's why I say someone like Colin has the ability to move up quite a bit because he wasn't, a top guy on pommel horse, but he can make himself even more considerable for the fact that he's been able to purely only work pommel horse for almost 2 months. That's huge. You can never do that in gymnastics, which is focus on one event and become a specialist for 2 months. So that's going to be huge for the people that aren't great on pommel horse to possibly become better. So so I say maybe someone like Shane, but he's not coming out of the woodworks, you know what I mean? So I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that's weak on pommel horse, that isn't strong on rings, that all of a sudden is going to up their game due to this pandemic. Not off the top of my head.
Kerry, your thoughts?
Technical difficulty. Sorry about that. I mean, he kind of said everything, so I don't know if there's much for me to say on that.
Sorry.
Well, you got to say something. So what are your thoughts? Is the level of competition going to be better or is it not? I mean...
I think we touched on this before, and I think that I'm in agreement with Taqiy that the level of competition will be the same because the top guys are motivated and some are finding ways to get better throughout this. And I think that's the edge because obviously everybody can train whatever hours and push themselves that way through nutrition and training. But actual repetition, gymnastics skills and routines, you can only replicate that in using that event and doing that routine. So that's what makes it unique. So at least, on the events that they can replicate some things, that's great. But, especially when it comes to tumbling, that's going to be a big one. I'm really hoping that, people are cautious, hopefully they're finding ways to keep their legs strengthened. But I think tumbling back on the floor is going to be a big curve for people to not try to jump right back into it right away after having such a long layoff. And also vaulting too, tumbling and vaulting, the things that are the most rigorous that on your legs, and obviously landings on other events. So I think floor and vault are the events I think that'll be maybe toned down more. Hopefully people can get better on the other events. And maybe that'll change the style and what people are vaulting and how routines are constructed. So, I think a lot will go into it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as the season progresses. But I just think, it's going to be in effect. But I think the top guys are going to find a way to, stay in their positions or, maybe some just, like you said, shuffling amongst, those top 5-6 guys.
I agree with you guys. I feel that if they were going to have U.S. championships in August, I feel like that would have been the time to there would probably have been more upsets at this year's U.S. championships, because I feel that they had it in August with all this layoff, and then U.S. championships being from now, 2-3 months away. I feel like a lot of the competitors really wouldn't be at that peak, so you probably would see more falls and misses and give the opportunity for someone not in that top 5 to pull up there. But I do agree that I feel now, since it's going to be more than a year until the next U.S. championships, that gives everyone plenty of time to prepare and be at their peak for that competition.
But also now you cycle your body to be healthy at that time too, because best believe there's going to be normal injuries that happen throughout the training process. So whoever is able to navigate that the best and be able to push through certain things at that time. Obviously, we were talking about that already, and pain management on being able to with your rip. But then it's also over 6 events or whatever your events are to mitigate what you can do going into the championship part of the season. So it's going to be very interesting.